Over the years, people have discovered strange occurrences and bizarre happenings throughout this icy world. Join me, I'm counting down 15 of the strangest discoveries in the Arctic Circle. Starting with number 15, Unartok Island Hot Springs. Unartok Island, located off the coast of Greenland, is home to an amazing natural wonder, the Unartok Island Hot Springs. These geothermal springs are a surprising sight in the Arctic icy landscape. They're found on a small uninhabited island in a fjord between the towns of Nanortalik and Qaqortoq in southern Greenland. The hot springs have a water temperature around 98 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, making them pretty warm and pretty inviting. Unlike other hot springs though, these stay at a comfortable temperature all year round, perfect for relaxing after a cold day outside. These springs have been a secret for centuries, and they were only known to the local communities. They use the hot springs for their healing properties and a place to unwind. The location on the boundary between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates causes the ground to heat up, creating these springs. Even though the people outside the local area have now discovered the springs, this island hasn't been commercialized. It remains mostly untouched, allowing visitors to enjoy this peaceful environment. Visiting Unartok Island takes some effort because you can only get there by boat. Tourists usually travel from nearby towns or as a part of a trip to explore Greenland. The journey is an adventure itself, offering stunning views of icebergs, glaciers, and rugged coastal landscapes. Number 14, the Lion's Mane Jellyfish. So the cold waters of the Arctic Circle are pretty tough for most species to live in, but they also produce some amazing animals. One of them is the lion's mane jellyfish, and they're one of the most striking creatures in any ocean. It is the largest known jellyfish species, and some can measure over 7 feet or 2 meters in diameter, with tentacles that can reach up to 120 feet or 37 meters. These tentacles are grouped into 8 clusters, with each of up to 150 tentacles, giving the jellyfish its characteristic flowing hair-like appearance. Now, this species is mostly found in Arctic waters, but it can also live in the cooler parts of the North Atlantic and North Pacific. It often floats near the ocean's surface where it easily catches its prey, usually small fish, zooplankton, and other jellyfish with its long tentacles. Despite the look, the lion's mane jellyfish is important for the marine ecosystem. It acts as both a predator and prey, helping maintain the balance of marine life here. Small fish and crustaceans often hide among its tentacles for protection from larger predators, while sea turtles and some fish species can eat the jellyfish itself. Well, despite its huge size, it's got a pretty short lifespan, usually living only 1 to 1.5 years. It goes through several stages in its life, starting as a tiny larva called a planula, then becoming a polyp. This polyp then transforms into a medusa, the familiar jellyfish shape, which quickly grows to full size. They are also bioluminescent too, meaning they can produce light to attract prey and deter predators. This light show is especially stunning at night, lighting up the dark ocean with a spooky glow. Number 13, Pingu Crater. Pingu Crater is located in the Ungava Peninsula of northern Quebec, Canada. It is one of the best preserved meteorite impact craters in the world, providing a unique look into Earth's geological past and the forces that have shaped its surface. The crater is also known as the Crystal Eye of Nunavik. It's almost perfectly circular and about 2.14 miles or about 3.4 kilometers in diameter. It was formed 1.4 million years ago during the Pleistocene epoch, when a meteorite about 0.9 miles or 1.5 kilometers wide crashed into the Earth. The impact created a deep depression that is filled with water over time, forming a lake known for its clear and pure water. Lake Pingualuit, as it's called, fills the crater to a depth of about 876 feet, 267 meters, making it one of the deepest lakes in North America. The water here is exceptionally clear, with visibility up to 115 feet or about 35 meters. This clarity is because the lake has no inlets or outlets, so it's only fed by rain and snow. This isolation has kept the water free from pollutants and sediments that usually make other lakes murky. The name Pingualuit comes from the Inuktitut word Pingualuk, which means where the land rises, highlighting the crater's prominence in the otherwise flat landscape. This makes the crater a significant landmark and it's been of interest to indigenous populations for centuries. The lake's sediments contain a detailed record of climate changes over thousands of years, offering valuable insights into Earth's environmental history. Studies of the crater have provided valuable information about past glaciations, vegetation changes, and even the arrival of humans. Researchers continue to analyze sediment cores from the lake to understand better how climate change has affected the Arctic environment over time. This crater is now part of a national park established in 2004 to protect this unique geological site and its surrounding ecosystem. It's managed by the Inuit community, ensuring that conservation efforts are aligned with traditional knowledge and practices. Visitors here can explore the crater and its surroundings, enjoying activities like hiking, snowshoeing, and wildlife observation. Number 12. The HMS Terror. The HMS Terror was a bomb vessel built for the British Royal Navy in 1813, and it became famous for its role in an expedition led by Sir John Franklin in 1845. This expedition aimed to chart and navigate the Northwest Passage, a sea route through the Arctic Ocean. Finding this route would have greatly improved global shipping. Along with its companion ship HMS Erebus, the Terror embarked on a journey that has since become one of the greatest mysteries in Arctic exploration. Now, originally it was designed for launching mortars during naval battles. The HMS Terror was built to withstand heavy impacts. This made it suitable for polar exploration. The ship was modified for Arctic conditions by reinforcing its hull with iron plating, installing internal heating systems, and adding a steam engine to help it sail through icy waters. Under the command of Captain Francis Crozier, HMS Terror, along with the Erebus, left England in May of 1845. The ships were stocked with supplies for 3 years, including food, scientific instruments, and a crew of experienced sailors. Their goal was to find a navigable route through the icy-covered waters of the Canadian Arctic archipelago. However, the expedition faced unexpected challenges. Both ships became trapped in sea ice near King William Island in September of 1846. And despite some efforts to break free, they were unsuccessful. The last sighting of the ships by Europeans was in July of 1845, when whalers saw them in Baffin Bay. The fate of the HMS Terror and its crew remained a mystery for nearly 200 years, sparking many search expeditions. In 2016, a breakthrough happened when Parks Canada, working with local organizations by using advanced technology, found the wreck of HMS Terror in Terror Bay, off the coast of King William Island. The ship was well preserved in the cold Arctic waters, providing valuable information about the expedition's final days. Number 11. The Hakon Mosby Mud Volcano. The Hakon Mosby Mud Volcano is a unique geological feature on the seabed of the Barents Sea, southwest of Bear Island. It's named after Norwegian oceanographer Hakon Mosby. This volcano is located around 4,100 feet or 1,250 meters below the surface, and it's become an important site for studying deep-sea environments. Discovered in the early 1990s, the mud volcano revealed a unique ecosystem driven by the release of methane-rich fluids and mud from deep within the Earth's crust. Unlike traditional volcanoes that erupt with molten rock, mud volcanoes release mud, water, and gases, creating a cold seep environment. This type of activity is crucial for understanding seafloor fluid systems and the impact on marine ecosystems. This mud does provide an energy source for a unique group of microbes, which in turn support a diverse community of organisms that are adapted to deep-sea conditions. Methane oxidizing bacteria play a key role in this ecosystem, converting methane into organic matter that other organisms can use. This process is an important part of the carbon cycle in deep-sea environments, helping to control the release of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the ocean and the atmosphere. At the center of the volcano, where the methane concentration is highest, the environment is dominated by microbial mats made of sulfur bacteria that oxidize hydrogen sulfide, a byproduct of methane oxidation. Moving outward from the center, the environment changes, supporting communities of tube worms, clams, and other organisms that thrive on the nutrients produced by the microbial mats. Places like this help us learn about our planet and possibly life on other planets. Researchers use remotely operated vehicles and submersibles to collect water samples and conduct experiments to understand how organisms survive in such extreme environments. Number 10. The Yuka Mammoth. The Yuka Mammoth is one of the most important paleontology discoveries from the Arctic. It was found in 2002 in the Siberian permafrost near the Yuka settlement in the Sakha Republic of Russia. This incredibly well-preserved mammoth dates back to about 18,560 years ago and offers amazing insights into the lives of woolly mammoths during the late Pleistocene epoch. Now, what makes this mammal so special is its state of preservation. Thanks to the Siberian permafrost, which stays frozen year-round like a natural freezer, much of the mammoth's soft tissue, including the skin, muscles, and internal organs, remained intact. This rare level of preservation allows scientists to study these ancient giants in great detail. Named after the Yuka people who lived in the region, the mammoth is an adult male believed to be around 47 years old. Its tusks, which are about 5 feet or about 1.5 meters long, are among the best preserved ever found. These tusks provide important information about the mammoth's growth and health. Analysis of the tusks show that the mammoth experienced several periods of stress, likely due to harsh environmental conditions or lack of food during the Ice Age. The contents of the mammoth's stomach and intestines were also well preserved, offering insights into its diet. The mammoth's last meals included a mix of grasses, sedges, and other vegetation, helping scientists understand the types of plants that were common in its ecosystem. This information supports the idea that mammoths lived in a cold, steppe-like environment called the Mammoth Steppe, which stretched across northern Eurasia and North America during the last Ice Age. Genetic analysis of the mammoth has been groundbreaking. The preserved tissues provided high-quality DNA samples, allowing scientists to sequence its genome. This genetic information is crucial for understanding the evolutionary history of woolly mammoths and their relationship to modern elephants. Comparisons of the mammoth genome with those of living elephants have revealed important adaptations to cold environments, such as genes related to fat storage, hair growth, and cold tolerance. Number 9. The Aurora Vent Field. The Aurora Vent Field, located in the Arctic Ocean, is one of the least explored deep-sea hydrothermal vent systems. It was discovered relatively recently in the 21st century. Situated on the Geckel Ridge, an underwater mountain range between Greenland and Siberia, the Aurora Vent Field is a unique environment for scientific research due to its slow-spreading rate and extreme depth. Hydrothermal vents are cracks on the sea floor that release heated water. Now, these vents are usually found near volcanic areas, ocean basins, and spreading ridges. The water they release is rich in minerals, supporting unique ecosystems that thrive in those extreme conditions. The Aurora Vent Field, located at depths of more than 13,000 feet or about 4,000 meters, is one of the deepest known vent fields on Earth. Its discovery has provided valuable information about hydrothermal activity in the Arctic. The remote location, harsh conditions of the Arctic Ocean covered by ice and freezing temperatures makes this exploration difficult. But despite those challenges, advances in underwater technology such as remotely operated vehicles and autonomous underwater vehicles have allowed scientists to map the seafloor, collect samples, and study the vent field in detail. Named after the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights, the hydrothermal vents at the Aurora Vent Field emit superheated water that can reach temperatures of up to 752 degrees Fahrenheit or 400 degrees Celsius. This water is full of minerals like iron, manganese, and sulfur, which form chimneys and other mineral structures around the vents. The ecosystems supported by hydrothermal vents are some of the most unique on Earth. Without sunlight, which can't penetrate the deep ocean, these ecosystems rely on chemosynthesis instead of photosynthesis. Now, chemosynthetic bacteria convert the chemical energy from vent minerals into organic matter, forming the base of the food web. These microorganisms support a diverse group of organisms, including tube worms, clams, shrimp, and various species of fish and crustaceans. Each species has adapted to survive down there, the high pressure, the low temperature, and the chemical-rich environment of this deep sea. The discovery of the Aurora Vent Field has provided scientists with a valuable natural laboratory for studying extremophiles, organisms that thrive in such extreme conditions. These conditions of hydrothermal vents are considered similar to those that might be found on other planetary bodies, such as the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, where similar hydrothermal activity may occur. This research could offer the first glimpses of what life elsewhere in the universe might be like. Number 8. The Arctic Henge. The Arctic Henge is a modern stone monument located near the small village of Raffarhof in northern Iceland, close to the Arctic Circle. Inspired by ancient mythology and astronomical alignments, the concept of Arctic Henge comes from Icelandic folklore and the Eddic poems, which are collections of mythological stories central to Norse mythology. The idea was proposed in the early 1990s by a group of enthusiasts and was designed to honor Iceland's rich cultural heritage and the ancient Norse beliefs. The project officially began in 1996, with construction starting in early 2000s. Arctic Henge features 4 main gates, each aligned with a compass direction, north-south, east-west, and a central stone structure. These gates are designed to capture the light of the sun during solstices and equinoxes, similar to other ancient structures built for astronomical observations. The central feature is a massive basalt column representing Yggdrasil, the world tree in Norse mythology, which connects the heavens, earth, and the underworld. The monument includes 72 basalt blocks, each symbolizing a dwarf from Norse mythology. According to these myths, these dwarves hold up the sky, and their placement in the Arctic Henge symbolizes the cosmic order. Now, this is an evolving project with new features and enhancements added over the years, making it a living sculpture that continues to grow and develop. The site encourages visitors to explore its alignments and observe the interplay of light and shadow at different times of the year. Rúðarhöfn, where the Arctic Henge is located, is one of Iceland's northernmost villages, situated on a peninsula. The area is known for its dramatic landscapes and the proximity to the Arctic Circle, where the phenomenon of the midnight sun and polar night are most pronounced. During the summer solstice, the sun never really fully sets, creating a continuous daylight that casts a unique glow over Arctic Henge, while during the winter, the sun barely rises, highlighting the monument against the twilight sky. Moving on to number 7, the Greenland Shark. The Greenland shark is a mysterious creature living in the deep waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans, and it's unusual because of its lifespan, slow metabolism, and unique adaptations to extreme environments. It is one of the largest known shark species, reaching lengths of up to 23 feet or 7 meters, and weights of over 2,200 pounds or 1,000 kilograms. Now, despite its size, it's rarely seen because it lives at depths ranging from 650 to almost 2,000 feet, 200 to 600 meters, with some found as deep as 7,200 feet or 2,200 meters, far beyond where humans typically venture. Life works differently in such cold temperatures and at those depths. Recent studies suggest that Greenland sharks can live for over 400 years, making them one of the longest living vertebrates known. This is partly due to their extremely slow growth rate of about 4/10 of an inch, or about 1 centimeter per year, along with their slow metabolism and cold water habitat. Greenland sharks are well adapted to the Arctic's cold temperatures. Their tissues contain high levels of trimethylamine N-oxide, which helps stabilize their proteins and cell structures against the cold. Now, this adaptation also makes their flesh toxic to humans and many other animals, meaning a few creatures see them as prey. The diet of the Greenland shark is pretty diverse and somewhat unusual. They are opportunistic feeders, eating a wide variety of prey, including fish and seals. They've been found with remains of polar bears, moose, and even reindeer in their stomachs. Their slow swimming speed, averaging around 3/4 of a mile, 1.2 kilometers per hour, suggests they rely on stealth and ambush tactics to catch live prey, often targeting sleeping seals and fish. While despite their frightening appearance and status as apex predators, they are not considered a significant threat to humans. Encounters with these deep-sea creatures are pretty rare, and their remote habitat limits their contact with people. However, their presence in Arctic waters has intrigued and inspired folklore among indigenous Arctic communities, who regard them as the wise souls of the sea. Number 6. Placetoine Park. So, Placetoine Park is an ecological project in the Siberian region of Yakutia in Russia. The idea came from Russian scientist Sergei Zimov and his son Nikita, aimed to recreating the ecosystem of late Pleistocene epoch by reintroducing large herbivores and predators that once roamed the area. The ultimate goal is to transform the current tundra and forest into a more productive grassland ecosystem, which the Zimovs will believe will help combat climate change by slowing the thawing of permafrost. It is similar to real-life Jurassic Park, but with animals from way more recent times. The concept of Placetoine Park is based on the idea that large herbivores play a critical role in maintaining grassland ecosystems. Now, during the Pleistocene epoch, which ended about 11,700 years ago, Siberia was home to a wide range of large animals, including mammoths, woolly rhinos, bison, horses, and musk oxen. These creatures did help maintain grasslands by grazing on shrubs and trees, trampling the soil and spreading seeds. The Zimovs hoped that by reintroducing similar herbivores, they can restore the Pleistocene ecosystem. Since its inception in 1996, Placetoine Park has introduced various species, including Yakutian horses, musk oxen, reindeer, and bison. They're also exploring the possibility of reintroducing genetically modified woolly mammoths, or hybrids created from Asian elephants and preserved mammoth DNA, though this remains a long-term goal with ethical and technical challenges. The Zimovs propose that converting the tundra into grassland will insulate the permafrost and reduce its thawing. Grazing animals compact the snow in winter, lowering the insulating effect of snow cover and allowing the cold winter air to penetrate the ground more effectively, helping to maintain the permafrost. The park now covers around 7.7 square miles, or about 20 square kilometers, and it's one of the largest ecological experiments on Earth. The introduction of herbivores has already shown some promising results, with the grazing activity transforming parts of the park from shrub-dominated landscapes to grasslands. Grasslands have a higher reflectivity, meaning they reflect more solar energy back into space compared to darker forests or shrubs, potentially leading to a cooling effect on the local climate. Number 5. Nanosaurus. Dinosaurs roamed the planet millions of years ago, but we usually hear about ones that lived in temperate regions. Recent evidence has shown that some species adapted to different climates, and one surprising discovery is the Nanosaurus, a type of tyrannosaurid dinosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago. Its name means polar bear lizard. It comes from the Inuit word Nanook for polar bear, as it lived in what is now the North Slope of Alaska, an area well within the Arctic Circle. The genus is known from limited fossil evidence, mainly a single partial skull and jawbones, providing insights into its size, behavior, and its adaptations to a polar environment. Now, the discovery of it is credited to a team led by paleontologist Anthony R. Fiorillo and Ronald S. Tykowski, who first described the species in 2014. The fossils were found in the Prince Creek Formation, a geological formation in northern Alaska known for its rich deposits of late Cretaceous vertebrates. The partial skull and jawbone indicate that Nanosaurus was a relatively small member of the Tyrannosaurid family, with an estimated length of about 20 to 23 feet, or about 6 to 7 meters, significantly smaller than its more famous relative, the Tyrannosaurus rex. Nanosaurus was well adapted to a high-latitude Arctic environment. Now, during the late Cretaceous, the region was much warmer than it is today, but it still experienced long periods of darkness and seasonal temperature changes. The smaller size of Nanosaurus compared to its relatives was an adaptation to the limited resources and harsher conditions of the Arctic, requiring less food to sustain itself. It likely shared its environment with various other dinosaur species, including hadrosaurs, ceratopsians, and smaller theropods. The presence of these species suggests a relatively rich and varied ecosystem. The discovery of Nanosaurus has important implications for understanding dinosaur distribution and adaptation. Challenges our traditional view that dinosaurs were mainly creatures of temperate and tropical regions, and showing they could thrive in a wide range of climates. It also highlights the importance of Arctic sites in understanding ancient life, as these regions are relatively underexplored compared to other fossil-rich areas, but hold valuable clues about how dinosaurs and other prehistoric life adapted to these extreme environments. Number 4. Nazi Outpost. During World War II, the Nazis dedicated significant resources to secret research facilities, and some of their more remote outposts are now being fully understood. The Schatzgräber weather station, for example, was established by Nazi Germany and was part of a secret meteorological outpost set up to provide critical weather data for military operations. Schatzgräber, meaning treasure hunter, was located on Alexander Land, an island in the Franz Josef Land archipelago in the Arctic Ocean. This station, unlike others in the region, was critical for strategic planning, especially for naval and aerial operations in the North Atlantic. The establishment of the Schatzgräber weather station was driven by the German military's need for precise meteorological data. With the war taking place on many fronts, accurate weather forecasts were essential for planning military ops, as weather conditions could significantly impact troop movements, air raids, and naval engagements. Schatzgräber was constructed in 1943 during the height of the war. The station was designed to operate in extreme Arctic conditions, including severe cold, ice, and snow. The German military personnel stationed there had to endure long periods of isolation and harsh weather. This remote location made it extremely difficult to supply and relieve the personnel, who had to be self-sufficient for long periods. Now, the official primary mission of the Schatzgräber weather station was to collect and transmit meteorological data that could be used to forecast weather patterns over the North Atlantic and Arctic. In 1944, the fate of the Schatzgräber weather station took a dramatic turn. An outbreak of trichinosis, a parasitic disease caused by eating undercooked meat, incapacitated the station's crew. The situation became critical, and they had to send a distress signal requesting immediate evacuation. A rescue mission was launched by the German Navy, which successfully evacuated the crew. After the evac, the weather station was abandoned and remained largely forgotten. The remnants of the station, including the weather instruments and other equipment, provide a glimpse into the harsh realities faced by the personnel who served there. Number 3. SS Teranova. The SS Teranova was a sturdy wooden whaling and sealing ship built in 1884 in Dundee, Scotland, and it played several roles in early 20th century polar exploration, particularly as a part of Captain Robert Falcon Scott's Terra Nova expedition to Antarctica from 1910 to 1913. Originally built for the Dundee whaling and sealing fleet, the SS Teranova was designed to endure the harshest conditions of the polar regions. Its reinforced hull, capable of breaking through ice, made it one of the toughest vessels of its time for navigating icy waters. Now, the most famous chapter in the ship's history began when it was acquired by the British Admiralty in 1909 for Scott's British Antarctic expedition. This expedition aimed to conduct scientific research and hopefully be the first to reach the geographic South Pole. The vessel set sail from Cardiff, Wales on June 15, 1910, carrying Scott and his team of explorers, scientists, and crew members. The journey was tough, and Teranova faced severe storms and heavy pack ice, which delayed its arrival. After finally reaching the Ross Island in McMurdo Sound, the team established a base camp at Camp Evans. Over the next 2 years, the expedition conducted extensive scientific research in geology, biology, meteorology, and glaciology, greatly contributing to our understanding of the Antarctic environment. The quest to reach the South Pole didn't go as planned. Scott, along with his companions Edward Wilson, Henry Bowers, Lawrence Oates, and Edgar Evans, reached the pole on January 17, 1912, only to discover that the Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen had beat them by 34 days. Later, Teranova returned to Antarctica to retrieve the expedition members and the valuable data they had collected. Even though they didn't succeed as they had hoped, the ship became known as a great vessel, capable of venturing into the most inhospitable of places. In 1943, however, the ship's travels ended when it struck ice and sank off the coast of Greenland while on a voyage to deliver supplies during World War II. For decades it was lost, but the wreck was finally rediscovered in 2012, resting on the seabed. It is somewhat fitting that a ship so associated with Antarctic exploration would end its time in frozen waters on the other side of the world. To this day, Teranova embodies the spirit of exploration and the human pursuit of knowledge and adventure. Number 2. Pithovirus Cisum. As technology has advanced and the ice has begun to melt, scientists have been able to dig deeper into the polar regions, revealing secrets from our planet's past. Many stories have warned about the dangers of awakening ancient viruses, and in 2014, this became a reality. Researchers digging into the Siberian permafrost discovered a virus called Pithovirus Cisum, unlike anything seen today. There are a few reasons why it's so different. First, it's one of the largest viruses ever discovered, measuring approximately 1.5 micrometers in length and about 0.5 micrometers in diameter. Amazingly, it is visible under a microscope. This size places it in the category of giant viruses, which includes other members like mimivirus and pandoravirus. These giant viruses blur the traditional boundaries between viruses and cellular life forms due to their size and complexity. The discovery of the Pithovirus Cisum was made by a team of French researchers from the University of Marseille, and they found it in a 30,000-year-old sample of Siberian permafrost, taken from a depth of about 98 feet or about 38 meters. Remarkably, the researchers were able to revive the virus by exposing it to amoeba, which served as hosts for the viruses to infect and replicate, demonstrating that it was still infectious after tens of thousands of years in a dormant state. The genome of this virus is also unusual, containing around 500 genes, which is far more than most viruses, but fewer than some other giant viruses. Its structure is different, featuring a large oval-shaped capsid with a honeycomb-like surface pattern. Now, many other viruses, which typically hijack the host cell's machinery to reproduce, Pithovirus Cisum appears to use a more complex replication strategy that involves creating a factory within the host cell to produce new viruses. The revival of such viruses raises concerns about the reemergence of ancient diseases and their impact on modern ecosystems and human health. While this virus itself is not known to pose a threat to humans, it raises questions about what else might be hidden beneath the ice. Number 1. Narwhal. Ancient mariners told tales of strange creatures they encountered at sea. While many of these stories were dismissed, one fantastical creature turned out to be real: the narwhal. Known as the unicorn of the sea because of its distinctive long spiraled tusk, the narwhal lives in the freezing waters of the Arctic, and it's a unique creature. Narwhals are medium-sized cetaceans closely related to beluga whales. They're usually found in the waters around Greenland, Canada, and Russia. Now, adult males can reach lengths of about 13 to 16 feet, or about 4 to 5 meters, not including the tusk, and weigh between 1,700 and 3,500 pounds, or about 800 to 1,600 kilos. Females are generally smaller and don't have the long tusk that makes males so well known. Now, the tusk of the narwhal is an elongated upper left canine tooth. It grows through the upper lip and can spiral to lengths of up to 10 feet or 3 meters. Now, the exact purpose of the tusk is debated, but it's believed to play a role in mating rituals and social interactions among males, who may use them to establish dominance and compete for females. Recent research has suggested that the tusk has sensory capabilities containing millions of nerve endings that allow narwhals to detect changes in their environment, such as variations in water temperature, salinity, and even pressure. However, the tusk is not used for hunting prey. Narwhals have a highly specialized diet, feeding mainly on Arctic fish such as Greenland halibut, Arctic cod, and shrimp. Narwhals are known to dive to great depths in search of food, reaching up to 4,900 feet or 1,500 meters beneath the surface, and they can hold their breath for up to 25 minutes. Narwhals live in a tight-knit social group, often forming pods of 10 to 20 individuals, though larger groups can form during migration or feeding. They are migratory animals, moving seasonally between coastal areas in the summer and deeper offshore grounds in the winter, where they can access open water and continue to hunt. The narwhal's Arctic habitat makes it particularly vulnerable to the impacts of any climate change. As sea ice melts and the Arctic environment changes, narwhals face increasing threats from habitat loss, increased human activities such as shipping and oil exploration, and changes in prey availability. These environmental changes can disrupt their migratory patterns, breeding grounds, and feeding behaviors, posing some significant challenges to their survival. While narwhals are not currently considered endangered, researchers are closely monitoring their populations just in case this changes. Love me some narwhal. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.